Hello, everyone. Once again, it's a Psalmist. Today, I just want to speak to you about why a husband should love, his wife more than his mother. We have seen how, this thing can be a big problem, in the life of a man in which, his wife and his mother don't get along, and then he's grieved because he loves his mother and then he loves his wife, but because these people who are very important to him, who are very important in his life, cannot get along, he get caught up in the middle. And I think that in truth, there would be no mother who's loving, who would want to get in the way of the success of the marriage of his son and his daughter-in-law. And I do not think that any loving wife will ever want to get in the way of a good relationship of her husband and also her mother-in-law. But these things happen. So it is very important for a man to make a decision. It's not just about saying that I'm gonna deal with this thing when it happens. Now you have to have a disposition before it happens, because it is the disposition which guides you on what to do when it happens. You see, because I believe that the reason why men cannot solve these kind of problems when there's a problem between their wives and their mothers is because they don't have a disposition, and because they get lost when it happens. Because when you arrive at home, you find that your wife is saying that your mother was doing this and that and she's angry, or your mother is saying that your wife is doing this and that and they're all angry, and you don't know what to do because you love both of them. You have to make a decision as a man, as the husband, to say, what, I'm gonna love my wife more than my mother. Why? Your mother raised you and taught you how to love, how to respect, how to treat women, so that you could apply what she has taught you through your wife. There is no other woman who's more important, where in which the love that you got from your mother, the teaching of love, the teaching of respect for a woman, where you can apply it except on your own wife. So your mother cannot teach you to love a woman, to respect a woman, to treat women with respect, with love and kindness, and then so that she could have that be applied on her. That is just, it's bad, it's evil, because it means that she wasn't training you to be a good human being so that other human beings may benefit from the work that she's done in you. She was doing it for herself, and that is selfish. She cannot do that. If she's truly loving, she cannot do that. And you, as a man, as a husband, you should understand that you must cut yourself away from your mother. You see, the Bible says that a man will leave his father and mother and cleave unto the wife. That literally tells you that you are supposed to cut yourself away from your mother and father. And this is not to say that you no longer speak to your mother. You no longer kind to your mother. You no longer, help her when she needs you. No, what I'm saying is that you prioritize your wife above your mother. And you must make it clear to your mother that she knows that, I'm a grown man now. All my energy, all my resources must be for the benefit of my wife. The primary beneficiary of everything that I do is my wife. You see why? Because you are one flesh with her. You see, you told her that you love her. You told her that you want to start a relationship with her, which has now led into a marriage. How can you prioritize anything outside of your own marriage? You see, and the reason why you must prioritize your wife above your mother is that you want to present something before your kids so that they could learn from you. You see, because the way that you treat your wife, the way that you present yourself as a man, as a husband towards your wife, is the thing that you're teaching to your kids. And your children are observing these things. Your children are looking at you. If you have a daughter is looking at you and learning what a man is. And she's learning what a man is in terms of the way you treat her mother. You see, so you're creating a standard. You're creating a standard of what a man is and what a husband is. You see, Your daughter, if she's looking at you and you're prioritizing your mother above above her mother, above your own wife, she's thinking that, well, marriage cannot be that loving. Because for you as a woman to ever get happiness, you will have to give birth to a son who's then can prioritize you. Because obviously your husband can never love you more than he loves his own mother. And then, first of all, you have to realize that the reason why most men may prioritize or love their own mother above their own wives is because mostly their father was not the kind of man who loved their mother the way that he was supposed to love them. You see, either mama's boys or men who love their mothers more than their wives come from families where either the father, the man's father was not available. That means their mother raised them by themselves, or the man's father was not available to love and take care of their wife the way a man is supposed to. You see, so the only way that the woman could have felt any kind of love was to cleave herself unto her own sons. So the duties, the love, and the warmth which she was supposed to get as a wife from own husband, now she cleaves unto the son. So every time when a son brings like a woman into the house in terms of a prospect wife, this mother of the man sees the door, sees the woman as an enemy. She sees her as someone who's going to steal her son from her. That's why some women struggle to let go of their own sons. Why? Because they didn't get love from a man. So they sort of want, in a twisted way, to want their own son to take, the place of their father. Whether their father was absent or their father was not as loving as a husband should have been to his own wife. You see that? That's where you get mama's boys or men who love their mothers more than they love their wives. Because in truth, be honest. Any lady, any woman, any wife will be honest. If your husband loves you, if your husband does everything in his energy to make you happy, all the works, all the things that he does is for your own joy, you would never even want your children to be too close to you. Why? Because you won't have time to do the things that you're supposed to do with your husband. The reason why you are able to cleave and cling unto your children to get love from them is because your husband is not there to do the things that he was supposed to do. If if your husband was always there to love you, to make you happy, to bring joy to your heart, you will always want to push your children away. In fact, you would want your children to get married and leave the house so that you could have time and peace and joy with your husband. That's the cause of why women don't want to let go of their sons and they want to fight, their daughters-in-law for their sons. You see, so when you're a man, don't think that you love your mother more than you love your wife because you are so loving. No. The truth is that you're a mama's boy because your father was not there. Even if your father was there in terms of, there in terms of an image, but your father was not loving to your mother. If your father was loving to your mother, no, you wouldn't even have any place in your mother the way that you have now in terms of your mother fighting over you with your wife. That is just fact. That is just true. And if you were to be honest and objective and study exactly the kind of relationship that your mother and your father had, you will realize that's why your mother now clings on to you and doesn't want to let you go. And for you, it is very important to do what? To break the cycle. Because if you do not break the cycle in terms of prioritizing your own wife above your mother, you're going to have the same thing. You're going to have the same cycle of you. The same thing that happened to you is going to happen to your wife. Why? Because you're going to prioritize your mother above your wife, and then you're gonna have kids. So your mother, because I mean your wife, because she feels neglected, she feels unloved, she feels unneeded, she's also gonna cleave to your children. And this thing continues and continues. Now, women will never get to be feel appreciated by their own husbands. Why? Because a woman somewhere was neglected by her own husband, was not looked after by her own husband, was not loved and desired and passionately, desired by her own husband. Now she had to cling to her own sons, because in a twisted way. Because sometimes people think that it's cool when you shouldn't allow your mother to be hugging you in such a way as if like you're her husband or something. No, it may not be like sexual in terms of sexual between a husband and a wife, but it can be in a twisted way sexual. You see, it can be in a twisted way sexual, but because you may think that no, it cannot, it is happening. You see, that's why she's not able to let you go. Because in the way that she holds you, in the way that she has you in the heart, you're in a way playing a husband role, even though you're her son. Women have been known to call their own sons whose fathers have not been there, have let them go, have let their mother go. They've been known to call their own sons my man. This is twisted. This is wicked. It's in a way it sounds like they're playing, but they're not playing. You are her man. You are her man because she's going to raise you to be her man. She's going to raise you to be able to support her, to provide for her, the way that your father was supposed to do. You see, and I'm not saying that if your mother raised you in very difficult conditions, she worked double jobs or she worked hard. I'm not saying to do that. That is your duty. Do that. You see, be grateful, show love, but don't let that love get in the way of the love that you're supposed to give for your wife. This is dangerous because you're gonna make this thing go on forever and forever, because your wife is gonna act the same way as your mother, because you love your mother more than her. So she's gonna make sure that her sons also love her more than they love their own wives. You see, this is why it is mostly, sons who are raised by single parents who are mothers who become mama's boys. It's very unlikely that in a relationship where you have a man who loves, his wife, who really takes care of his wife, who really does the thing that a man is supposed to do for his wife, very unlikely you can have a mama's boy in this kind of relationship. Why? Because the father will always push away the children so that he could be with his wife and do the things that husband and wife do. But when there is no father in the home, the mother will always cling unto the sons. Because deep down, what she wants a man. But because she couldn't get a man who could love her, she raises a man for herself. They might not be the kind of thing that husband and wife do, but she is going to use her son as a replacement to the man who left her. You see, that's why it is dangerous for a man to love his mother more than he loves his wife. Because if he does that, he's going to repeat the cycle, and the cycle is going to go on and on. And this is dangerous. You see, and it's very difficult, of course, to let go of a mother who raised you through hardships, who raised you in difficult times. It's very hard because she struggled to make you the man that you became. But you have to understand and study and say, but this is not normal. I'm not supposed to love my mother more than I love. I mean, it is. How can, in whether you're a Christian or anything, how can you continue in your culture, in your customs, if you still cling on to your own mother? You were born, cut the umbilical cord. You see, you're no longer a child. You're a man now. And if you really believe that you're a man, you must speak to your mother like a man in a respectful manner. I'm not saying disrespect and talk, respect and tell her, you know what, mom, I am now a man. And because I am a man, I need a woman. And because I realized that I needed a woman, I married this woman who is my wife. This woman is one flesh with me. You are not one flesh with me. You must make her know that. It's gonna hurt her, but truth hurts. But truth hurts, and after that, heals. You see, you cannot be one flesh with me. It's impossible. You understand? If you need anything from me, I will always be open to help you. Why? Because you're my mother. But never ever think that you can have more love from me than my wife, because some women like to say, I raised you, and then telling your wife that she raised you in difficult times, and then that's why she deserves to be. No, that is just wrong. That is just clinging. That is controlling a man. And there comes a time when you're grown, when you're too grown, that your mother cannot control you anymore, and you must make it known that you can no longer control me. You can offer advice from a mother's point of view because you want my life to be better because you're my mother. Even when you speak to my wife, don't come into a house and telling her that no, she can't cook. That's why your son not doing it. No, that's just disrespectful. Tell her, advise her in a form of a mother advising a daughter. You see, don't put her down and don't make her feel that she's not good enough for me. I chose her. I think that she is good enough for me. I married her. That means I believe that she's good enough for me. And to your wife, of course, because you don't want to make your wife arrogant, and you don't want, to make your wife become disrespectful to your mother. You also tell her that she must treat your mother like her own mother, because your mother birthed you, and without your mother, she wouldn't have you. It is when you do that, you're going to have order in your house, and you're going to have peace of mind. But if you always, act like you don't know what to do, women, you always have problems getting along, and you're going to have to deal with that. And you're going to struggle having peace of mind because your mother and your wife cannot get along. And when, family occasions, where you will wish to have your mother and your wife there, they can't get along, and you are torn. But at the end, you have to understand that it is your wife who must have all your love. You must have the majority of your love. And your mother must have the love that a son can only give to a mother. That is support when she needs something, and she needs protection. You do all that. But you must always go back to your wife. Because your wife is your present, your future, your forever. And in some way, your mother is your past. And I'm saying it's your past. I don't mean like you must cut her off. The same way as you would treat your sister who's married to another man, you must treat your mother, because the way that you treat your sister in terms of letting her be with her husband, raise her own kids, giving her space to be herself, you must also do the same with your mother. Give her space to be a grandmother, not act like your wife. It's better if you have headaches and stress because of your wife, but your mother, no, that's not. Why would your mother give you stress? Even when you're a man, you're a grown man, you have your own money, you have your own job, you have your own house. How would your mother give you stress? Because the only thing that your mother can actually ask from you is if she thinks that there are some thieves who can break in the house, and you go there, you fix the house so that thieves cannot break in. And if they still break in, then you bring into your own house. But she must understand that the queen of this house is your wife. She must always respect your wife, and she must always come to her with respect. And your wife must treat your mother like her own mother. Then you have peace of mind. But this will always come from a point of you having a disposition that I love my wife more than any other human being in the world. And everything that I do for the joy and benefit of my wife. That's how you're going to peace of mind. You're going to get peace of mind. But if you're going to think that, you can cut yourself in half, give half to your mother and give half to your wife, it's not going to work. You're going to have stress. And eventually, because your wife may see that, she doesn't have a place in your heart, Everything that happens in the house, you always put your mother above her. She may leave. Two things: she may either leave or she may just deal with it, but raise her own sons to be the same way as you. And that is just bad. There's no continuation. This is just a vicious cycle in which the only way that a woman can truly experience love is through raising her own son so that her son could perform the role that her husband was supposed to perform, because her husband was too much of a coward to make a decision to love her more than his own mother. That's why she now has to raise her own sons to love her. You see? Do you see the viciousness in that? So a man has to make a decision. But if you can't make a decision, then you have a problem. You see, you have to make a decision to love your own wife more than you love your mother. This is not to say that you must not help your mother in anything, but this is to say that you have to make a decision that I love my wife more than any other person in the world, including my own mother. Well, that is all that I have to say about this topic: why a husband should love his wife more than his mother. If you have anything to say about this topic, you can leave your comment below. And if you love receiving content like this, you can subscribe to my channel so you can receive content like this. Thank you for listening.